es la voz de LA. It's like una galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell the haters shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Ves la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goals during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans out there, wherever you may be in the world, and all you MLS fans out there, you are welcome here as well. Thank you once again for stopping by this humble little pod. Today, well, geez, it's the hope that kills you, but we're back with you again to soothe your ailing hearts here on another edition of Sad Fool Hours, aka Group Therapy. And if you caught the G's last night in their midweek match on Wednesday, May 14th, boy, you'll need it, as the LA Galaxy sent fans into an early meltdown by jumping out to a 2-0 lead on the road against the Philadelphia Union, only to concede 3 second-half goals and lose the match to remain winless on the season. We'll take a look at what positives we can get from this match and a positive Galaxy response to their last defeat, a potential offensive blueprint that might work, how it all fell apart in the second half, and what it says about this Galaxy team going into El Trafico. We'll be joined by J.R. Lebert, co-host of the Defenders of the Bank podcast, who will be here to help us preview the Galaxy versus LAFC in another battle for LA bragging rights. Plus, 2 Galaxy DPs are set to return for this weekend's rivalry match. All of that and more coming up on La Cuna Galaxiana. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, and there is a lot to get to, let me introduce myself. Rob Halon here as one of your co-hosts. You can find my written work at the Sporting Tribune and Extra Time Talk, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA on pretty much all the socials. And my co-host here with me, as usual, Ananda Kirana, El Yerno Guapo y Gitano Perdido. Papa, this is where you tell me all about how the Galaxy let you down again.
Yeah, they really did. Because, I mean, I was in a couple of group chats with you, and, man, we started off really well. Like, that was the best. I even tweeted about it. You guys can go, of course, you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. And I tweeted at halftime that easily the best 45 minutes of the season. Easily, like, without a doubt. The Galaxy looked hungry. The Galaxy overcame the shambolicness the shambles in New York. They looked ready to fight. They were going for every ball. They won a lot of duels. They scored goals, Robert. They scored goals. What do you got to do in soccer to win?
Do it?
Score goals, right? And the easily, like I said, the best 45-minute performance. And I saw a few things. We'll talk about it later. A few rays of hope, because Vanney, again, I thought against the Red Bull, it was about the system, I guess, eventually, in hindsight, but I think it was more so about the personnel. And he switched up his personnel in this game, and I actually felt, if it worked the way I thought it would, that it would produce a really good performance, and it did in the first half. But unfortunately, I don't know, we'll talk about the mentality of this team, but unfortunately, that came to roost. And that should have been a 1-point game at worst. But of course, the way this season's going, had to be 0 points. So all in all, I am heartbroken, Rob, from that match. And that's my one-word reaction. Just simply heartbroken, gutted. gut punch, sucker punch, however you want to call it, because I really believe that this team was good enough for, if not all 3 points, at least 1 point. That was a 1-pointer in the bank all game. Because like I said, all we had to do, I even tweeted about it, all we had to do was, play it straight, don't take any risks, be defensively resolute like you have in the first half, even amongst the waves of pressure. We'll talk about those waves of pressure as well, because the stats, boy, Philadelphia put it on us from a stat perspective. But this team lets us down again. And maybe that's just this version of the team, man. It's like, when you see rays of hope, when you see rays of sunshine, they shut the blinders on you, and it all goes to roost. So heartbroken. It's my one word reaction. Really heartbroken.
You said let us down. Then let me down. I wasn't expecting anything. In fact, you mentioned that we're in a couple of group chats, and I said in one of those chats, no, it's too early. They probably can't hang on. In fact, I called they wouldn't hang on. And it's just, man, I these are the moments that I want to be wrong. But nothing in this LA Galaxy team at the moment has me thinking that, they had the mentals to go ahead and finish this game out, and they did not. And I hated to be right on this one, but we'll talk about more about mentals in a little bit. But yeah, we want to thank you guys for being here with us again. We are halfway to 600 subscribers, so we're just like 49, 50 away, something like that. So go ahead and keep on telling your tios and tias, your toxica, your pizza guy, all about this podcast. If you love someone, show them that you love them and tell them about this podcast. Go ahead and hit up that super chat function if you have something pressing to get off your heart, your mind. If you have a question, if you have something to say, go ahead and hit up that super chat. And of course, if you want to find out a little bit more about why this LA Galaxy team might be struggling, go ahead and hit up those breakaway pods. What's wrong with the LA Galaxy? My interview with Michaela Giannone, and we also have episode 5 of Los Galácticos, a man that's pictured here in the background, Mark Delgado, that Galaxy fans will see on the weekend once again. But that's the LA Galaxy's midfield mystery. It doesn't seem like Greg still has figured out what his best midfield this year is. So always a topical video. This one was made how long ago, Ananda?
Beginning of the year, after the first game.
And it still has not fixed itself.
Yeah,
so,
it hasn't, but
topical.
But I think they're like I said, there are positive signs. I'm telling you, man. Telling you. Well, I'll talk about it later. But anyways, you didn't give your one word. You didn't give your one word. I didn't hear it.
Expected.
Man, you are in a sad place, Baba. You are. This team has absolutely knocked you down. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was feeling overly up. Maybe I was feeling overly
I'm just being a realist.
For this season, I get it. But like I said, maybe it's because I tend to pay attention more about like personnel and tactics, and I'm the type of person that likes to put myself in the coach's seat, mostly the coach's seat, not the GM seat. But anyways, G-Cam, what's up, Papa?
You and I cry. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was expected for me, man, and you knew that. I mean, I said, will they be able to hang on? They did not. Marshawn said, man, you got to watch your chickens. You got to watch your mentals. They are of the utmost importance. Mind over body all day, and whatever's happening right now is just the Galaxy can't get over that mental hump, man. But anyway, we're gonna get into this. Quick bit of news here. VCFC also copped DL to Austin FC 2. They're still in first place though, so that's good. After 10 matches played, they're on 18 points. There's a couple teams below them though that have a game in hand. The next play, Vancouver Whitecaps 2 away on Sunday, May 18th at 4 p.m. Now, getting into this match proper here, because we also have a really good guest here with us today, and we have an El Trafico preview to get to. And let's be honest here, we're going over about the 10th loss this season already, so they start to blend. But letting you, for those of you that blessedly missed it, continuing their winless start to the 2025 campaign, the Galaxy lost 3-2 to the Philadelphia Union after being up 2-0 in front of almost 16,000 fans in Philadelphia. What else to say? But the Galaxy responded well to their 7-0 humbling by opening the scoring in the 32nd minute and really coming out and showing a lot of verve, hunger, desire there. It culminates there in the 32nd minute when they take the lead through a well-worked counter-attacking goal. Marco Reus is the linchpin here on this play, and he drives down the center of the field. And just when you think he's waited a little bit too long, he feeds it off to Mauricio Cuevas, and just when you think Mauricio Cuevas doesn't have the shot, he goes ahead and he fools the Union keeper to go ahead and hit the right corner.
What a finish, by the way. Super calm finish. We haven't had that calm of a finish even from our strikers, so well played, Mauricio. I mean, we saw Cristian Ramirez in that position just a week ago, or sky it, right? And so what a composed finish, man. That kid needs more minutes. Shout out Mo, man. You need more minutes, Papa.
We're putting that Christian miss behind us. Don't put that on that man. He needs confidence, not anything else right now, man. It's El Trafico on the weekend. But anyway,
he needs to go to shooting practice with Mo and show it how it's done.
Ooh, yeah, no. Just like you said, very
cool
very
finish,
calm,
cool finish,
very composed finish. He puts the Galaxy up 1-0. Marco Reus assist, and that's only the second time all year the Galaxy have had the lead. It's the first time they've had the lead since March 29th when they took the lead against Orlando City. Of course, they went on to lose that match. That McCarthy blunder in the last minute. But the Galaxy, just a couple moments later, Diego Fagundes puts the Galaxy ahead 2-0. Marco Reus shows his class once again with a little fake shot that throws his defender off enough for him to shovel a pass to Diego Fagundes, and Diego Fagundes hits it with the outside of his boot, and he joins an exclusive 75 club. Now he is in the 75 goals, 75 assists club. And it was also his 300th start. Congratulations to Diego. He's the youngest player in MLS history to make 300 career starts. 36th player in MLS history to do the feat as well. Timeout, independently of what's going on here this season, just a real big accomplishment. This is a guy that joined the league like a 14 and was making starts for the Revolution at 15. So he's been a huge part of this league for a long time, man. So we just got to enjoy him when we have him. I'm sure he's going to go on and break a couple more records before he's done.
And again, I used that word heartbroken earlier. It was heartbreaking to see him in the presser. Just couldn't enjoy the accomplishments, his personal accomplishments, because of the way the team's going right now. And it was just like, I felt for him, man. And maybe this is why, like, I'm a little bit more. I have a certain emotional response to this team, maybe because of the comments I heard after, but just seeing that Diego presser, because we've had conversations with him on the side. We met with him in CVI and stuff. So yes, we do have we've had conversations with him off to the side, but he's just a good guy, and it was just really heartbreaking to see him in that presser. You can sense the level of frustration, and it's almost like they're trying, man. They're trying their ass off, but it's just not coming off at the moment, unfortunately. But shout out Dieguito, man. It's a huge accomplishment. Hopefully he'll have his own personal time to kind of think through it and at least cherish the moment.
Well, when he scores that goal in the first half, he gets to celebrate it because the Galaxy are up 2-0. They're cruising at that point. They're really getting a couple of chances at that point, and they're not really being affected too much by Philadelphia's game. Unfortunately, they can't take advantage of that superiority they go into the half 2-0, and unfortunately, the second half did needed to be played. And that's kind of where it all fell apart. Philly wasted little time getting back into it. 2 goals in 2 minutes tied the score, with Nathan Harriel and Ty Taribo scoring in the 48th and the 50th minute, respectively. The first off of what else, Ananda? You guessed it, a set piece, as Harriel gets a deflection off Jacob Glesnes' header to get the first goal for the Union over the line. That's the first goal of the match for the Union. It's at 2-1. 2 minutes later, Baribo just monster winning everything in the air, showed why he's the Golden Boot winner by scoring a lovely header and outmuscling Yoshida for the goal. And just when it seemed like the Galaxy had weathered the storm, Baribo pops up again in injury time to head home after Michael Ire gets to the end line and sends in a lofted cross into the area. And again, just Baribo's fantastic in the air and puts it home in the 96th, 97th minute of injury time to break LA Hearts. And it's just again, Ananda, I told you in the group chat, it would happen. And I haven't seen anything to the contrary. I haven't seen that fight or the mentals. And it's unfortunate because everything was there for the Galaxy to get that first win, and it just did not happen. A couple of things did happen, though, in this match. It was the first time that Mauricio Cuevas got a start this year, and he paid off Greg Vanney's faith with an assist and a goal. Marco Reus had 2 assists in this one. First time in his Galaxy career that he has that's the second time that he has a multi-assist match. He was also named to Team of the Match Day bench for match day 13th. And Lucas Sanabria, who made his first start since coming back from injury, logged his first career assist in this one. Ananda, any surprises from you from the starting lineup here?
Yeah, let me pull that up if I can.
You can. I have faith in you.
There we go. So, yeah, man. Look, I think we thought about from the last game. Obviously, it didn't work, right? But I gave Greg credit at that point because, again, we talk about on the show the definition of insanity. So he tried something different. It didn't come off. It didn't work, right? But I looked at it on the glass half full side in that he tried something. At least he tried something, and it didn't work. Now, coming into this game, I thought it would be interesting what he would do based off of the, only a couple days in between matches. You had a couple guys play, most of that match. And most importantly, the formation and also the personnel, right? Because like I said, I felt like the formation was probably doable, but I think he got the personnel wrong on that game. There wasn't enough dueling capacity in the midfield. And so when I saw Sanabria, Winder, and even Parente in that midfield, it kind of piqued my head a little bit. I was like, okay, this is something different. This is something that I was, especially against high pressing teams, physical teams that will hurt you in transition, like New York Red Bull and Philadelphia, which we talked about in the preview. We needed that type of dueling capacity in the midfield. And to be honest, man, Winder and Sanabria, I thought played a great first half. That was probably the best. Like, I even tweeted about it. I said, it's about time that they're showing their personality. It's about time that they're showing their skill set, because this is what they're set out to do. I mean, Greg played him as 2 weights with Parente in the 6. Parente sort of controlling the tempo in the middle. And those 2 guys, they were running up and down the pitch. They were tackling, they were dueling. I've got a couple clips later of Lucas Sanabria and maybe the potential that he showed in this match. But I thought that was a positive. So I think that's a positive that we've got to take forward now for the rest of the season and continue to sort of build up these guys. Of course, the other one was Marco Reus at the false 9. I thought that worked well because now it relieves a little bit of his defensive responsibilities. Doesn't need to track back more. He can be the technical leader in the final third, which, let's face it, we've had no quality in the final third, very little of it. I shouldn't discount or discredit Christian Ramirez like that. He's had 4 goals, but again, when you need a technical leader, Marco Reus actually showed up. 2 goals. What more can you ask from him, right? And then Mo Cuevas, man, like I told you, give this kid more minutes. I think he deserves it, whether it's on the right wing or Mickey Yamane or in place of Yamane at the right back position. I think Mo Cuevas gives us an extra speed, extra athleticism that maybe we don't have, especially without Gabriel Peck. Because remember, man, we're playing this game without 3DP, so you're behind the 8 ball already, and we had to do something. So I applaud Greg for trying, and honestly, in the first half, it was a masterclass. Let's not kid ourselves. It was a masterclass in how Greg set up this team: be defensively sound, be tight, be in 2 banks of 4 with 2 in the top, and once you win the ball back, hit him in the break. And that's what we did in the first half, and we scored 2 goals out of it. So again, I think this lineup is a blueprint. We'll talk about this later. I think this is something that Greg's got to look at and take forward into future games and sort of build off of this rather than chopping and changing all the time. I think there's a formula there. And this is going to be even better when the two DP wingers come back.
Ananda, go ahead and start prepping them match stats that led to this Union victory here. But we do have a super chat from the homie G Cam. Time for a Raquinho Olympia, definitely. It's been past time. I don't even know.
We need some sort of Olympia.
There's got to be
we need some sort of Olympia.
Something at this point.
By the way, I see you guys in the chat talking about J-Mac too. Look, I think he's never been a guy that's been commanding in the box. I think we've said it multiple times on the show. At least I've said it. He's never been that type of guy. I wish he was a little bit more commanding, but he's not. But credit to him, he made 6 saves this match. I mean, Philadelphia was wave after wave after wave after wave of pressure. And I want to talk about this too, man. And look, it was interesting because I was listening to Josh and Hammer just a second ago, right before this pod. Shout out guys. And I think Hammer brought up an interesting point about the decision to keep Yoshida over Neal. Yoshida's drop off this year has been crazy, man. Like his drop off from this year to last year has been nuts. And so it does, again, hindsight's always 20/20, but it makes you think about, because I had thought that the future of the LA Galaxy center back partnership was going to be Jalen Neal and Amito, right? Because I thought Jalen Neal was a good comp, a younger comp to Yoshida and what he would do. Of course, you're going to need a couple years of development, but instead the Galaxy went the other way. Again, another roster thing, but bro, the drop off. I mean, Maya he didn't do well on 2 of those goals, right? Even the last one, he went down for a slide, like on the ground, and the guy just dinked it over the top of him. You don't need to go down. You don't need to go down at that moment. Like, you're an experienced veteran. But again, maybe it's the lack of confidence. It's the panic, right? And these are the details that Greg talked about post-match. Again, we'll get into all that stuff later. Yeah, we'll get into all that stuff later. But yeah, man, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing as me, but Maya has regressed. And I don't know if that's his mean or what, but he has regressed. That's for sure.
We do have another super chat. The homie Big Heck says he just wants to say the bad juju on the team. It's just spiritually draining. Pero amor eterno.
We need a seance, an exorcism. We need something. Garlic. Everybody needs to bring a clove of garlic and put on their seats on Sunday, because man.
And later when we bring on JR, we'll ask him about, just how much the other side of the freeway is enjoying, what's going on here with the Galaxy, or if it's just too sad to even even enjoy it. Like, is it just like a wounded animal at this point? And you're just like, pobrecito. But anyway, Ananda, what do you see in the stats here?
Yeah, man, I'll give you 1, maybe 2 stats that tells the tale of this match. 24 shots to 4, Robert. 24 shots Philadelphia to 4 LA Galaxy. I think that plus the shots on goal, 9 for Philadelphia to 2, I think shows the balance of play. Look, if you look at this game on paper and you didn't watch it from your eye test, you would say that Philadelphia is probably deserving of the win, but soccer doesn't usually work like that, right? Football doesn't work like that. I mean, the Galaxy's only 2 shots on target in the first half, Rob. We scored. Right. So that's like, we talked about being clinical even earlier in the season. That's the definition of clinical. It's interesting, again, based off of the personnel that we had, Greg opted to concede more possession, which was fine, because again, the game plan was win the ball back with use your dueling capacity of Winder and Sanabria, win the ball back and let your technical leaders lead you in the final third. Right. And that was it. But unfortunately, we couldn't keep up with the waves of attack And the second half, as soon as those goals came in, I was like, even the first one, Rob, I was like, uh-oh, like panic stations now, because it's the way the first goal happened. And when you see the replay, it actually deflected off of. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's a nothing play. Usually McCarthy would just grab that, right? But of course, it has to hit off the shin of someone and go in. Like, this is just how the season's going. But you look at the momentum chart and you look at it on the balance of play. I mean, Philadelphia dominated us. Wave after wave after wave after wave of pressure. And again, like a draw or 1 point would have been, yes, we talk about moral victories on the show, but I think that would have been huge, because you look at that momentum chart, Rob, we were under the cosh completely, right? And we couldn't get anything going the other way. And unfortunately for me, the game changed a little bit when, actually not a little bit, it changed quite a bit when Sanabria and Winder got off the field, because now your midfield kind of got a little ragged. It lost a little bit of its dueling capacity. Again, Philadelphia is a team that is on you, right? They are on you, and they also put a lot of crosses in, and they're also a very high intensity, high pressure type of team. And we knew that coming in. Again, we talked about that in the preview. But again, credit to the Galaxy for at least adjusting without 3 DPs. Greg said we're going to give up possession. We were even out passed. Look, we're number 5 in MLS, Rob, in passing, and we were out passed this game, right? And look, we talk about grit, we talk about effort, determination. We had 8 blocked shots. We blocked 8 of their shots. So I don't know if you can totally say that this wasn't an effort thing. I think the effort was there, but I think it's what Greg talked about with the margins and details, a lot of little details. We talked about the detail of Yoshida. You don't need to go down on that last goal. Just stand him up, right? Stand him up. Just, he's in the box, stand him up, and you should be good. If he doesn't go down, I don't think he flips it. Maybe, but just as details, man, we're getting on the wrong side of things, unfortunately.
Well, we already mentioned the Galaxy did start well in this match and just finished poorly, but it was a pretty good response to that 7-0 shellacking that they took. Unfortunately, it still wasn't enough. They started pretty well. You could hear Greg Vanney letting them know, stay together. But as they got more and more tired, and Greg said this in the presser, they started, becoming disconnected, and that's become the problem all year. Greg did get the question of, whether this Galaxy team has a mentality to win these kind of matches. They were up 2-0, seemingly in control of this match, and in 2 goals in 2 minutes, they throw all their hard work away. So Greg was asked, here's his answer.
Do I think it's a cerebral thing? I think the guys are fighting. I think sometimes we're fighting so hard to make a play that occasionally we overplay ourselves and we expose ourselves. Like, I think there's so many factors, details that go on inside of it. There's so many details. What I think it is, what I know it isn't, is a commitment and a battle and a fight, and everybody out there trying to do their best to get a result, see a result, everything. I think inside of a game there are thousands of decisions that get made, hundreds or thousands of decisions that get made by each player, moments that we need to execute, things along those lines. And I feel our margins are thin. If we get just a few of those wrong, we're paying. We're paying, and that's the frustration for the group. We're trying to pull together as a group. There's a lot of goals that aren't on the field for us. And guys are just trying to step up and battle and fight and put their best foot forward. And I really, I think the effort, the scrap, the fight is all there. It just, we're trying to find ways to win inside of the group that we're working with, and guys are battling. I can't tell anybody. I would never say they're not. They're.
Yeah, I mean,
Rob,
if you were in that presser, you're seeing an emotional Greg, an emotional Diego. Like you said, he can't even enjoy his personal accomplishment because of this loss. It's tough because Greg's saying that it's not a mentality thing, and I think at this point, what else can you point to? I mean, they are, by all intents and purposes, I mean, playing well enough in some of these matches to win. They just aren't getting the results or not getting things over the line. Ananda,
Well, yeah. Well, how about this? Is it fair to say what he's saying is not wrong? It's actually right. But on top of that, the pressure just builds. When you give up that first goal, even me as a Galaxy fan, I'm like, uh-oh, like something's going to happen here. Something bad's going to happen. And so if that's happening in my head, how could it not happen in a team's head, in a player's head, part of a team that has lost now 13 or not winning
10.
in 13 games, like, right? So, and you're on a 5-game losing streak. So I think both things can be true, like I always say, right? I think what he says is okay, but I think also the mentality, there's got to be something there. Otherwise, like you said, this stuff doesn't happen. So,
Ananda, you are the optimist at the moment, and you wanted to go ahead, finishing up talking about this match with a positive. So I'll let you take over because I'm not really feeling rosy at the moment.
Well, what's interesting about this match is I feel like this is the first time in a while that I've seen Greg be okay with relinquishing possession. And now when you go up against a team like LAFC, so when we bring on Scarf, this is going to be really interesting because I don't know if they sort of tweak their playing style this year, but of course they're also, in the past of Traficos, like they've been happy to relinquish possession as well and have us the ball and have us make the mistake. Whereas this game, we were sort of acting in that capacity. But I think Lucas Sanabria is going to be a real key to this game, Robin. And I'll show you. Just look at this sequence right here that I'm going to pull up. This is in the first half. Lucas Sanabria gets that ball, rides the challenge, and Jacques is the guy. That guy's pretty strong. You could see him breaking away, and now we're off, right? Nothing comes of this play. But if we can get that type of Lucas Sanabria, we haven't had that type of dueling capacity. That's the stuff that Mark Delgado used to do for our team. That's the stuff that maybe Gaston Brugman, even a Cerrillo, would do for our team. Now, if we can get him to that capacity and, again, relinquish a little bit of this possession, because I think Greg even said it post-match, is there's some things that he likes about the composition of not only the midfield, but the team in general that he might use. And trust, if you've got now speed on the wings to counteract that sort of playing style, there's something there. Is it going to translate to a win? Like you said, the mentality might hinder us from getting that win, but I think there's something there to build off of. And right now, as the LA Galaxy, you've got to look for any positive, right? I might be reaching, but you've got to look for any positive at this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, you need those positives to build upon, especially with the kind of match that's on its way up. Guys, we do have a defending the badge winner for the week. We did have 4 candidates. Diego Fagundes, who had a goal, Mauricio Cuevas, who had an assist in the goal, Lucas Sanabria, who won 9 of 10 duels, and Marco Royce with 2 assists. And with a whopping 2 votes, that's Ananda and I, because him and I voted this week. We picked this week. Marco Royce is your winner with 2 assists here. He really was definitely influential in the Galaxy's game plan in the first half. Shame it fell apart in the second half. If the Galaxy are to be successful this weekend, this man will need to be as dangerous as he was in the first half. Marco Royce needs to be on his game for this one. And since we have already mentioned this match, this El Trafico match coming up, why don't we bring on our guest of honor today?
Dale, let's get it.
Dale, let's get him. This cat's doing us a big favor right now, because even though he is, obviously based here in Los Angeles, he's, I believe he told me he's on the East Coast right now.
He's
on a field trip.
He's in Atlanta. So huge shout out, man, to Scarf, man, for sure.
Oh, he needs to go get those lemon pepper wet wings. Ooh. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. So anyway, yeah, no. So he's doing us a big favor.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that he was with some students. I didn't know he was a teacher. So now I got to call him. You know, I know everyone calls him Scarf, but I got to call him Teach because you know he's going to come on here and drop some knowledge all about LAFC season so far. Please welcome back to the show the Scarf, J.R. Lebert, co-host of Defenders of the Bank. Welcome back, Papa. How are things?
Gentlemen, being in Atlanta, it's 12:30 in the morning right now. So I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, we do a civil rights field trip with my 7th grade every single year. It's
Awesome.
an incredible trip. I'm very blessed to work at a school that can, you know, afford to be able to do a lot of those things. And yeah, here in Atlanta right now. But look, I definitely got a chance to watch both matches on Wednesday, both LAFC's 4-0. And I mean, Ty Baribo did you guys dirty at the end there. This is the strangest feeling that I've had going into an El Trafico in a while, because I was 100% sure of one thing this season, and that was that LAFC fans, supporters, whoever, just couldn't talk smack to anybody on the Galaxy. When you win MLS Cup for the entire next year, you can't really say anything. I'm sorry. I know there are maybe some of my brothers and sisters in LAFC who feel like, look, I can talk smack whenever I want. But when you guys hoist the cup, we pretty much have to stop for a year. And then, right? And I thought, okay, first 10 games, sure, they're just off to a bad start. I mean, granted, it's historically bad, but it's still a bad start. And then you guys kind of redefined things these last 3 matches. I mean,
It's
unreal.
getting epically wrong, right?
It's the Sporting Kansas City match was the strangest thing I have ever seen, like, period, bar none, hands down. And then, I mean, look, Galaxy loves to say since 96, there's never been a 7-0 loss. So that was something that, I mean, and that's not even like a good Red Bulls team. And then Ty Baribo comes and smashes you guys in the mouth right before. Yeah, it's just unreal how much history, bad history, obviously, you guys have made over the last 3 games. And you mentioned, like, how does LAFC feel watching this go on? I mean, look, there's absolutely a large section of our fan base that is loving every single minute. But I'm going to say the thing that they don't want me to say out loud. We are terrified that we somehow are going to be your first win of the season this Sunday. Terrified.
Don't trip, Scarf. Don't trip. It's I mean, and I'm not gonna tell you when the Galaxy went up 2-0 against the Union, I said I don't see them winning this match, and it didn't happen. Now,
and I stupidly said we're getting out of here with a point at least. Boy, was
I
was right for 97 minutes, by the way. And then
the lad was
dirty,
so
like
optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was so optimistic. But I don't feel like, I mean, I didn't watch as much of LAFC's 4-0 demolition of Seattle as I would have liked, but I watched enough to know that on form, this one should be an easy call, at least on form. However, it is El Trafico, and anything the hell can happen. We already know that. So we'll get into the game proper here in a second, but let's catch up with JR here. How are things in Exposition Park, man? You know, it's been a quarter of the season that's been gone so far. Has it lived up to your preseason expectations? I mean, did you go into this season thinking that LAFC would initially struggle and then, you know, suddenly get hot like they are right now?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that we got hot if I'm being honest.
There you go. You're good.
Oh, I'm here. I don't even know that I'd say that we've been hot. I mean, I think we could have expected a lot more from our home game against St. Louis. I think that we should have done better against Vancouver. But that being said, we are undefeated in our last 6. And the most important thing is that Denis Bouanga has gotten going. Obviously, no goals through his first several MLS regular season matches, but he's figured it out now with 6 goals in his last 6 games. It's been a little bit of a slow start for LAFC for sure. Obviously, we're not where we want to be, But I think we've finally started to stop putting a square peg in a round hole, that square peg being Olivier Giroud, getting him off the pitch and getting players like, and we've seen the last couple of weeks, Jeremy Abobasi, Nathan Ordaz, who's been our breakout player, David Martinez, whomever we can get up top that's not Olivier Giroud has been producing for us recently. So I think once we stopped trying to fit him into a system that clearly doesn't fit for him, and he's a step or two slower, as Ante Razov, who coached the one match, obviously, because Cherundolo got the red, said he's playing in an advanced state. That's the nicest way I've ever heard somebody called old before. I think now that we've taken the shine off of that and we're playing much closer to our strengths, I really like the way that this season is hopefully shaping up for us. And I'll say, likely with no Antoine Griezmann coming down the pike, because he wants to keep making money in Europe, which I think we all would.
Yeah, I mean, I don't begrudge Greasy still trying to stay at Atletico and getting those dollars over there. And of course his eternal heart wants to dethrone Real Madrid and somehow, and he just always comes up a tad bit short. We mentioned Mark Delgado earlier. You mentioned David Martinez, and also Nathan Ordaz as kind of like the breakout player. Who do you think has been the biggest addition to this team? And these kind of breakout players or emerging players can count as those biggest additions as well.
Yeah, look, with Nathan Ordaz, simply he put on some muscle and found his man card, I think, during the offseason, because he got knocked off the ball almost every time he touched it. That being said, I didn't know that we would get this much success from Nathan Ordaz this early. I didn't know that he was ready for his close-up quite yet. But that being said, you asked me who the most important additions are. Getting a 6 and having it be a kid who's as young as Igor Jesus is, and he has played extremely well for us. Losing Ilie Sanchez meant that we lost a leader on the pitch and in the locker room, and I don't think we've replaced that yet, but we've replaced the 6 with a player who could be a generational talent, and I don't think is long for Major League Soccer with the way that Igor Jesus has played. And I know you guys, your fans are going to hate this, I think our most important player this season has absolutely been Mark Delgado. I think that the little bits of leadership that he has provided and the fact that credit to our front office. They identified a player who can plug and play in our system as quickly and as well as Mark Delgado has. He has been the key to, when we're not playing well, he tends to smooth over some things that aren't going well. And when we're really moving, it's likely either Mark Delgado or Igor Jesus. And I think Igor only looks as good as he is because of kind of the tutelage that Mark Delgado has provided directly to his right. I just think that those two players for us have kind of really driven this resurgence, especially over the last 6 matches.
Yeah, Greg called Mark the great equalizer while he was here, JR. And to be fair, I think Mark Delgado could play in any of the 30 MLS teams. Yeah, he's that heady. Brilliant. He's that intelligent. He knows where to find the spaces. He knows what the team needs. And that's why Greg called him, he's such a stable force for any team.
The great equalizer.
Yep.
And
and look, I mean, the other thing with you guys, losing Joveljic, Brugman, Neal, Aguirre, Delgado, like it's the curse of winning the cup, right? Like we had to clear our bench, and losing Chicho Arango and everybody in 2022. I think a lot of people really underestimate what it's like to play with depth in MLS, and I think that's been the toughest thing, not just Delgado for you guys, but so many of those other names. And
Ricky on the injury table, that's the biggest one. Yep.
Yeah.
And likely not back till November per Will Kuntz. What's been LAFC's biggest problem area this year so far?
There have been long stretches of the season where if it's not Denis Bouanga, it's nobody, right? And if we can't get Denis going, we don't know where our offense is going to come from. Now, recently, it looks like we've righted that ship. But there are still a bunch of times where it feels like, oh man, Denis missed his 2 or 3 good opportunities. Who else is going to come along and score? I think that's been one thing. But I'll be honest, I think LAFC is still one player short on each of our 3 lines from really being the MLS Cup contender that we want to be. As much as I love Timothy Tillman, we could use an upgrade at midfield from Timmy. It's all about figuring out who plays up top for LAFC with Denny Bawanga. Is it going to be in the middle, Jeremy Abobasi or Nathan Ordaz? Is it going to be David Martinez or Cengiz Ünder? And I don't think it's going to be Cengiz Ünder because it's something like a $20 million buyout for his contract after July 1st. And look, if he would have scored 10 goals and had 5 assists in this limited time, maybe we're paying that. But we just don't know, first of all, which are we going to get, good Nathan Ordaz or regular Nathan Ordaz? Are we going to get motivated David Martinez, or are we going to get the sometimes petulant child who forgets that he's maybe the most talented player on the pitch, David Martinez? And then on that back line, look, I love Eddie Segura. I love Marlon. I love Maxime Chanot. I just don't know that we have that second center back that we can set it and forget it alongside Aaron Long, who is still nursing that hamstring injury. So I think if you look, I love most of our guys, but I think we're one talented player away on each of our lines from really contending for MLS Cup.
Well, a player away on each of your lines, and at the end of the year, it was a huge surprise to at least myself when I found out that at the end of the year, LAFC will need a new coach as well. Cherundolo, what is it now? About a month ago, announced that he would be leaving at the end of the year. Him and his family had decided to go back to Germany. What's the impact of that announcement on the team? Have you seen any, if at all? I mean, I know that there was a small, if vocal contingent of Dolo out people because he had lost a couple finals. But what's your take on it? Was it time? Were you surprised?
Look, I've never been a Dolo out guy, but I know a lot of people who are. That is for sure. And you say it's a small but vocal contingent. It wasn't as small as you might be led to believe, which is really interesting because, yes, he's gotten us to a lot of cup finals, right? But not through a lot of cup finals. And I think that's been everyone's biggest gripe. But if you step back and you look at how every other team in Major League Soccer has performed since Steve Cherundolo has taken over, any other team, maybe with the exception of Columbus Crew, would take the path that LAFC has been on since Steve Cherundolo. Now, that being said, all the Dolo out people, it's all quiet now. It's eliminated a lot of noise because Dolo beat Dolo out people to Dolo out. Like, that's the funniest thing ever. He was like,
he took the power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And look, he's likely going to go over to Hannover 96. He's likely going to be a coach in their system and have a wonderful career and enjoy his family in Germany. It's, it's where he met his wife, right? And it's where she really wants to be. And honestly, you look on social media, and when we win 1-0, it's why didn't we win by 3? And when we lose 2-1, it's how could we lose to a team so terrible? It's the LA sports market, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys are seeing a lot of things on Twitter as well with Galaxy this year. But it's kind of actually quieted a lot of the noise. And he did it at a time where we were entering a stretch where we were getting 6 or 7 days rest in between our next 3 or 4 matches. So it allowed him to really put the rest of his blueprint on this club for the first time this season. And you can see it now. We've rattled off 6 games undefeated. Again, I'm not super impressed by that number, but it's great. And I think it's really quieted a lot of the noise. So it's had an interesting effect for sure.
You mentioned the need that LAFC has at the moment. You also kind of answered my question, but I just want to get a little bit of clarity here on this one. Do you feel like LAFC is an MLS Cup contender?
I think we have great players, and I think that oftentimes we play very, very well. This Seattle game may be a little bit of an aberration. No Paul Arriola, no Jordan Morris, no Jackson Reagan. Still, it's Seattle, but I don't think we're there yet. I look at the way Vancouver is playing. I look at the way that Portland can turn on their offense. I look at the way that obviously Messi and everybody over in the East who's at the top are playing. I don't know that we're there yet. That being said, I think we are going to be a very different team come July 1st. I'm kind of hoping it's not Thomas Muller, but I don't know who it's going to be on that July 1st deadline. But I think we're going to be a very different team. I think we are losing Cengiz Ünder. Marlon's contract is up after June 30th as well. So it'll be interesting if we bring him back at center back. He's a big depth piece for us. But I don't think, as currently constituted right now, we are any type of MLS Cup favorite for sure.
Let's get into this match here. But before we do, one final question, and it's the big one. It's the most serious one that I have for you, right? If you could pick LAFC winning the cup this year or the Galaxy going winless for the entire year, which would you pick?
Hands down, not even thinking about it, winning MLS Cup. It would be hilarious, right, if it happens, but it has no bearing on our history, right? It has no bearing on what would be on our crest next season. And they don't give out little stars or spoons or anything that would go on the top of your guys' crest for next year either. So look, MLS Cup, hands down, by far. If you go winless for the season, so be it. But no, I'm not dancing on the grave of Galaxy just yet, because you guys, you're only like a 2 or 3 game win streak away from being close to a playoff spot, which I know for Galaxy fans right now is like 2 or 3 game win streak would be the best thing ever. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that you guys make some moves July 1st and go on a little run, and then all of a sudden you're chasing a playoff spot and you get in, and who knows?
Oh, well, wouldn't that be the craziest documentary, right?
I mean, an El Trafico win would go a long way to getting that 2 or 3 game win streak started. I mean, that's always about bragging rights. It's just a world of its own. And that's the type of game that can kickstart your season. Again, that's something that you don't want to hear, JR, but for Galaxy fans, that's the only thing we've got left. So yeah, let's get into this preview, guys, and see, you know, what we are up against. What type of LAFC team are we up against? Because when I did a little my research about this, you guys are playing a little different than I'm used to, just a little bit. But anyways, we'll get into it.
Alrighty, here after 13 matches, the Galaxy holds a 0-10-3 record, 10 goals for, a whopping 31 goals against on 3 points, 0.23 points per game, a negative 21 goal differential. They have not kept a clean sheet in 8 matches, 15th in last place. Still the only team in MLS yet to win a game. Dead last in the Supporter Shield race. It's now officially the worst start in league history. The Galaxy are currently on pace for 7.84 points over the year. Of course, I don't expect that to hold. I do expect this team to start picking up a couple wins. It's been a whopping 159 days since the Galaxy have won an MLS game.
That's nuts.
They are due. If there's ever a time to do it, it's in this match. However, LAFC obviously is not going to make it easy for them. After 13 matches, LAFC has climbed up to 5th place. They hold a 6-4-3 record, 23 goals for, 18 goals against, for a +5 goal differential, 21 points at the moment for 1.62 points per game. Their last match was a 4-0 exorcism win, like an exercising win against Seattle at home, and this really was just casting off a couple of demons after Seattle had handed them a couple of losses in a row. Before that, it was a really spirited 2-2 draw versus Vancouver on the road. However, LAFC was leading 2-0 and dropped the 2 points by letting Vancouver get back into that match. JR did mention LAFC's unbeaten in 6 matches. They have scored 15 goals in their last 6 games. JR, what worked well in that massive win over Seattle? We were talking about the mentals that the Galaxy haven't been able to show this year. LAFC finally showed some mentals over Seattle, a team that had recently beat them 5-2, and then last year in the Western Conference Final. What went well? Like how did they make it happen?
Yeah, look, I mentioned it already too, though. No Jordan Morris, no Paul Areola, no Jackson Reagan, making things a little bit easier for LAFC, but those are still professionals on the other side. But I think that our high press is working, and I think that we got the front 3 right in that match, at least tactically against Seattle. We like to press a little bit higher, and when that high press goes well, you see things like you're not able to clear. So Cengiz Ünder able to take that long shot for a goal that does get deflected, right? Anything can happen once you get that ball in the box. So Cengiz Ünder getting us started quickly there with the goal because of the high press was nice. Jeremy Abobasi, people kind of sleep on his skill level, I think, a little bit. He hasn't exactly shown up and shown out as much as we would have liked, but that goal was an absolutely incredible drag back and then shot to the left. Our front three really had it going nicely, but I think we had a lot of help from the midfield. The midfield really dominated that match as well. And I think, again, it comes down to if Igor Jesus can be as good as Igor Jesus can be on Sunday, I think he could be the primary piece that really pushes LAFC forward, because he's been the one, whether it'll be a tackle and winning a ball back or whether it'll be a progressive pass down the left or the right, he's been the one that's been doing that quite a bit. And he had at least one of those against Seattle and created a couple more chances for us too. So I think we caught Seattle at the right time. Plus, we were able to rotate some guys in, start some guys that we normally wouldn't have, like guys like Smolyakov, Frankie Amaya getting a start. We were able to kind of rotate a little bit and get some really good moments from those players.
Scarf, in this 4-0, yeah, I mean, even though Seattle was missing a couple players, it does got to feel good, finally getting that monkey off your back, right? I mean, you get really what is a kind of like a mentally cleansing win. This is the kind of win for the Galaxy anyway. When they beat Kansas City last year and it come from behind, it kind of set the tone for better things. Is that kind of what you saw from this win?
Look, I think the match can certainly set the tone because it was the best that LAFC has played in quite a while, even though we have been undefeated in these last 6. This one felt like we really put our stamp on the match. Rather than battling back for a point or playing well on the road, this was LAFC looking like LAFC for some of the first times in a while. But, I mean, I'll kind of turn the question around. I don't know that it does anything about what happened against Seattle last season, just like I don't know that the Red Bulls beating you guys 7-0 really does anything for them compared to the last time that they played you guys. So it's still a regular season win. But that being said, 3 points is 3 points. And as long as you can protect your home field and gather as many points as you can on the road, you're going to be somewhere high up in the table. And this can only help. I mean, look, we're 1 win away from theoretically being 2 or 3 points back of first place and jumping up to second in the standings. So every point, that's why it's so frustrating that we dropped those 2 points to Vancouver. Every point is important right now. And I think that win was the way that we like to play as best as we've played it this season.
Let's look at a couple of stats before we check out a couple of things here in these lineups. This one is special, guys. This one is the 25th anniversary of El Trafico. The Galaxy leads the all-time series 10-9-5. They hold an 8-7-5 record against LAFC in league play, and 12 all-time home matches played across all competitions against LAFC. They have an 8-2-2 record. The last time these teams met, it was a 4-2 come from behind win for the Galaxy in 24 all-time meetings across all competitions between the teams. The games average 4.3 goals per match. JR, we know there's going to be goals in this one.
Yep.
In fact, I'm virtually dead on that there's going to be various goals on the LAFC side. Is the LAFC attack just kind of like salivating by seeing what's been going on? I mean, the Galaxy have given up 31 goals this year. I mean, they've got to feel good about their chances, right?
Look, I was listening in, and I agree with some of what you guys are saying. Yoshida looks terrible this season for you guys. It's been really interesting to see him regress. Emiro Garces has looked terrible for you guys at large points this season. And yeah, look, you can't discount the fact that 31 goals is 6 more than any club has given up in Major League Soccer. That differential of -21 is 9 worse than any other club in Major League Soccer. So if you just look at the numbers, I think LAFC should be able to put up maybe a 3 or a 4 spot in this one. I don't know. But that being said, we have to get the front three right. We've seen matches where Nathan Ordaz has looked like a world beater, or Jeremy Abobasi can score and play really, really well for 45 minutes at a time. We've seen matches where David Martinez has been completely engaged, one of the most exciting players on the pitch, generating chances, taking on defenders, and seen matches where he's pretty much taken the night off and been really frustrating for 60 minutes and has to come off. And then Cengiz Under gives you moments of brilliance, and clearly he has been a world-class player for quite some time, so he's fun to watch. But it's all about getting that combination of the front three right. And if we do, I think it could be real, real trouble for Galaxy on Sunday.
Ananda, we'll ask you here what you see in the starting lineups here. But JR, besides Maxime Chanot, is there anyone injured on the LAFC side?
Yeah, look, we don't know what's going on with Odin Thiago Holm. He's a player who we saw him a little bit in preseason, and he's made a couple of appearances. Not sure that he's going to take the pitch at midfield. Lorenzo Della Valle has been, again, he's never played for LAFC. He played a little bit in the preseason. Not sure what's going on with him. But the biggest question mark we have going in, other than Maxime Chanot, is the health of Aaron Long. He had a bit of a, I don't know, hamstring or a groin or something. Didn't play in our last match, but was available. He was in the 18. I don't know if, worst comes to worst, we would have actually put him on the pitch for sure. For us, that's a really important position. Aaron Long being Aaron Long means that we don't have to worry about, in my opinion, 3 players on the back line with Sergi Palencia and Ryan Hollingshead on the flank. So if Aaron Long can come in and be Aaron Long, then we will be fine. I actually, and I don't know what's going on with Maxime Chanot's head injury, but I will say this. I would be very surprised if we see Maxime Chanot until at least the All-Star break.
Wow. Well, hopefully he gets better soon. I didn't know it was a that serious of a head injury. I thought it was just a knock where he was out a couple of matches, but speedy recovery to Maxime Chanot. So Galaxy fans will be heartened to know that 2 DP wingers are on their way back for El Trafico. It remains to be seen how much they'll be utilized, how much they can give their coach Greg Vanney in this match, but they will be available. So saying that, let's get into some predicted starting lineups, guys. JR, let's go ahead and start with you. Is what you're seeing here on this screen pretty close? I know you mentioned that Frankie Amaya, got some minutes here that he normally wouldn't get. So I'm guessing there on the left wing or left midfield, you're going to have a different player there.
Yeah, that'll be Timothy Tillman most likely for us, in that, with Igor Jesus in the middle and then Mark Delgado slotting in where Timothy Tillman is. So that'll likely be our midfield. And look, in the middle, if you told me that was our up top, if you told me that was our starting 3, I'd be fine with it. I don't know that anybody has, quote unquote, won the job, whether it's Cengiz Under versus David Martinez or whether it's Jeremy Abobasi versus Nathan Ordaz. I'd be fine with those guys being the starters. Again, to me, it's all about figuring it out up top. Marlon and Eddie Segura is not the center back pairing I want to go into this match with. That being said, it may have to be, depending on what we can get from Aaron Long in this one, but I would rather start Aaron Long, see what you can get, and then potentially bring on an Eddie Segura, who has been a little bit more versatile for us, although we all know Eddie is capable of the errant chicken wing in the box on occasion, or a late tackle that leads to something that can be a little frustrating. So, and then obviously Artem Smolyakov would come off for Ryan Hollingshead in this lineup too. So I think we would start Palencia and Hollingshead on the outside.
Ananda, what are you seeing here for the Galaxy? Are you seeing Greg go with the same Marco Reus false 9, or are you seeing him change it up a little bit here?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting call. I think it worked well against Philadelphia, but that's going to be an interesting call. Again, I don't know. I would be okay with Marco or Christian Ramirez, but like I said, Marco Reus showed his ability to become a technical leader in that final third. Well, again, while Christian Ramirez has 5 goal contributions this year, he doesn't have that same technical ability, that guile, that wit that Marco Reus has. But the question is, can he keep up with the physical nature of that back line and the number 6, right, for LAFC? That's going to be the question. But look, I think the biggest thing for Greg is his 3 additions. He's got Cerrillo coming back into the side at the number 6. He's got his 2 DP wingers, right? Conceivably. How many minutes they'll play, we're not sure. But those are 3 starting level players, Rob. Those are 3 huge players in our MLS Cup run last year. So I think that should be a big morale boost to this team. But of course, now Greg has to find the right tactics. And I think more interestingly, it's going to be interesting tactically to how does he set up against this team? Does he go with the 2-8s or does he go with a double pivot of Cerrillo and Sanabria, for example? That will be interesting as well. And of course, he's got to find protection for Denny Bouanga. You do not want to be on an island with that guy. Yamane's experienced it time and time and again. He's gotten a couple penalty calls on him, right, in past matchups. So we don't want to leave him in that island. So I guess, does he call Gabriel Peck back to double up, or does he use that double pivot to give that right back and extra protection? I think tactically it's going to be interesting to see what Greg does here.
If you had to guess, Ananda, where are you seeing Diego Fagundes take part?
He might play as a number 10. He might play, like, for example, if we play 2 6s, Sanabria and Cerrillo, he might play as a 10 in that playmaking role. But again, I don't see him on the wing, because I think the best chance that the Galaxy have is speed on the wing, speed in the transition. That's how we've hurt teams in the past, and you can't leave 2 DP wingers on the bench like that. So it's going to have to be either Marco or Diego in that playmaking position, unless you move Marco to the number 9 or the false 9.
So you're advocating for Marco Royce at the false 9, Peck and Paintsel on the wings, a midfield of Cerrillo, Sanabria, and Fagundes. And then what are you doing in the back there, man?
You probably stay. Zonka, he doesn't sound like he's fit, Rob. So I'm assuming you're going to play that same back 4.
Well, he's gone for personal reasons at the moment.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was. Yeah. So I think you go with the same back 4, man. I think you go with the same back 4. Again, chopping. I'm not a big fan of chopping and changing the back line. I think consistency is what you want. It's going to take some real howlers to get some folks out of the side. I think Yoshida and Garces just have to continue to build that chemistry. Again, they've regressed to, again, I don't know if it's the mean but they've regressed, right? That's for damn sure. So I don't think you should chop and change in the back line. Give some consistency, let them build some chemistry and develop together.
Ananda, go ahead and take us into some key stats here for this match that will help us give a good prediction, because Teach, Scarf, we are going to ask you for a prediction here at the end. We are going to keep some receipts. So, and then guys in chat, you guys also know what it is. Start dropping your predictions. Also start dropping for the LA Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... fill in the blank. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... We'll also get JR to answer that pivotal question here. Ananda, take it away.
Yeah, I'm going to key in on one particular stat, but I think overall, as you guys can see on the top there, those are the offensive stats in the bottom. LAFC is a very solid all-around team. They're top 10 in shots per target per match, top 10 in big chances. Again, Denny Bouanga had a propensity to miss those big chances early in the season, but it sounds like he's found his rhythm fairly recently. On the defensive side, again, they don't concede a lot of XG. They've always been a combative team, a little bit lower than last year, but still up there, 10.4 successful tackles per match. But here's what I want to key in on, which I thought was interesting. Average possession, LAFC this year, 52.5%. Whereas last year, let me pull up my notes. I believe last year you guys were bottom third with 47%. So I think that's interesting. And I think that's at least the discourse that I've always heard was, that LAFC is just totally comfortable playing on the counter, but they're maybe over-reliant on playing the counter in the past. So Scarf, what are you seeing from your eye test and just seeing that sort of shift this year? And has that led to maybe both short-term and potentially long-term success for your team?
Yeah, look, we've had matches in our last 6 in this unbeaten run. 3 of them we have outpossessed the other team, and 3 of them we've been the team to sit back and sit in possession. I think it's all about what Steve Cherundolo and his coaching staff thinks is the best form of tactics for that particular match. I think what I like better that we've done this year than maybe we've done last year is we're able to play both of those styles if we need to. We can go out and possess that 70% against, I think it was St. Louis. One of these last 6 games, we possessed it 70%, one of them 61%. So, I mean, it's not just 55-45 in some of these matches. We're really taking the ball for a large portion of the match. That being said, I think that we should look to be the team that's out on the front foot in this one, as long as Paintsel and Peck aren't yet Paintsel and Peck. Because I think, look, they're the great equalizer, right? Paintsel can get over the top of you in a hurry. And Peck, I think, is one of the 4 or 5 most talented players in Major League Soccer when he's healthy. So if those two guys come back, and I think, obviously, Greg Vanney's going to start them and see what he can get out of them, get the most that he can. Those first 45 minutes are going to tell you an awful lot. If LAFC are susceptible to a player like Gabriel Peck or to a player like Joseph Paintsel getting behind them, then I think that changes the style of play that we are going to want to play immediately to, okay, let's sit back, let's defend, let's put an extra guy in the box. I think, though, for us, of those 6 stats, if I'm looking at those, our biggest thing, and you kind of mentioned it with Denis Bouanga, can we turn the XG that you concede into actual G that you concede, right? Because you can concede all the XG that you want. If they're not going in the back of the net, they're not going in the back of the net. So I think for LAFC, it's about finishing those chances that I think, unfortunately, the Galaxy will provide a few times for us. So if we can finish those chances, fine. But again, I think the speed that you guys are talking about on the wings, that can be the great equalizer, because as well as Ryan Holling said and Sergi Palencia have played, they're not fast. Palencia can keep up with you, and Ryan Hollingshead has been beaten a couple of times this season by some players getting behind him. So I think that's the thing. And then if you pair that with Eddie Segura on the back line and he takes a chance or two that he doesn't need to take, now all of a sudden you're maybe 1v1 with Ugo in the box, and I don't like that with Paintsel or Peck.
You talked about that speed on the wings, right? But, Galaxy are facing something similar in Denis Bouanga, and he is started to come into his own this year. He didn't start the year great. People were wondering what was going on with him. Well, he just needed to warm up. The cat has gotten going. He has 6 goals and 3 assists. More importantly, he always scores against the Galaxy. He scored 7 times in this matchup. So he, I don't know what the stat on this, but I believe he is second in scoring for LAFC against the Galaxy. Carlos Vela being, of course, number 1 in that stat. Unders has 2 goals and 2 assists. David Martinez 3 goals, and of course, Marc Delgado. We've already highlighted him as being pivotal to this LAFC midfield. 3 assists and 1 goal. JR, we know that these are some of the big guns here for LAFC. Certainly, Nizar Diaz has his contribution as well. But who's the X factor? Who's the guy that, besides these big guns, that needs to play well for LAFC to go ahead and get this win?
Yeah, I mean, look, Igor Jesus, like I said before, I think he's going to be the key in the midfield. And with it being his first El Trafico, I think that's going to be a big moment for him. I don't know that he maybe grasps what this rivalry is yet. He's young. I don't think he cares, really. I think he's just going out there to play against whoever.
It's another game.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to go up and play against whoever's in the shirt opposite him, and he's going to play the same way he plays. And that's what I love about what Igor Jesus has brought to the table. But that being said, I think he's, 1 goal away from tying Graham Zusi all time in terms of most goals by a defender in the MLS regular season. I think Ryan Hollingshead is a player who has injected himself in the offense this season, but hasn't had a lot that would show up on the back of his top soccer card at the end of the season. So I think for me, it's about, can Ryan Hollingshead, whether it's a goal or an assist, can he be that type of offensive producer for us, not just chance producer, if that makes sense?
I agree with that, man. He's always been a thorn in our side. That's a guy that I've always watched. He's, especially when he gets into those odd man rushes, watch out. And he always seems to score a big goal against us. So I agree with that coming from the Galaxy side.
Alrighty, JR, we're going to kick this one to you. For LAFC to win this match, they have to ... fill in the blank.
Finish their chances. And I'll say 1B is, it seems like every time we play Galaxy, one of us has that moment late, whether it's a PK or whether it's a handball or whether it's something that happens. But I think we'll be up late so that maybe we can avoid that being whether it's a 2-1 that becomes a 2-2 or a 3-2 that becomes a 3-3. But we have to avoid that weird gaffe, right? That moment that seems to creep up in every one of these rivalry matches. But honestly, I think we just need to finish our chances. I think Galaxy is going to give us plenty of chances over the course of 90 minutes. And at the end, it'll be a simple calculation of, did we finish enough chances to take 3 points?
Well, we have a couple of responses in the chat. El Primo Matthew says the Galaxy must ... remove Greg. That's I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's gonna go ahead and translate onto the field immediately in the way you want, but like Ananda said, cheeky. Ananda, we'll kick it to you. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to.
Oh man. Again, this is such a weird one because just where both teams are. But again, this game takes a mind of its own. It's a world of its own. So I'm going to say something kind of similar I said maybe last time, but in these big matches, I think the Galaxy have to play the game, not the occasion. Look, despite how badly we're doing this year, Galaxy fans are going to show up. And you damn well know, Rob, that LAFC fans are also going to show up. So within the stadium, I think the atmosphere is going to be really interesting, but I think the atmosphere is going to be at the level of an El Trafico, right? And I think that will spill over to the pitch. So I think the Galaxy, if they block out everything else that's going on this year, if they just play the game, stick to the game plan, we saw the emotions boil over these last couple of games, Rob. You remember that little skirmish at the end with Diego, and I forgot who it was. I think it was Baribo from Philadelphia. I think they're starting. You see the frustration. You see, tension starting to boil over. They have to stay disciplined this game. Again, they got to play the game, not the occasion. And I think if they start with that foundational point and you stick to the game plan, I think everything else will flow from there. But again, this team is mentally brittle. They're fragile right now. So they need to start off mentally strong and in the right place. And a long way to do that, or I think a long way to doing that is, again, just sticking to the game plan and playing the game. Don't worry about the occasion. That is El Trafico.
Yeah, no, I kind of second that. You kind of just have to be Igor Jesus at the moment and just play the match. Kind of. I mean, and really, I mean, that's, Diego said it in the last match. They got to take it match by match. Well, part of taking it match by match is just playing the match for the match it is, and not playing the occasion. And it's going to be a big occasion, but Galaxy just need to put their head down, be professional, and get about their business. Let's hit some betting odds, and then we'll get a prediction from Scarf here, and then we'll let him get to sleep because I know he has to go find some wings tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, plus 220 for the home team. That's 31%. And guess what? The road team, in this case, LAFC, plus 115 at a 47%. So that's a 15% or 1.15 odds there for all you guys placing bets, and 2-1 for the Galaxy. So decent there if you are feeling that the Galaxy will get their first win of the season. Interestingly, draw at a plus 255, so a little bit higher there, 2.5 to 1 payout there, or odds. So again, Rob, as the road team, this is not looking good for the Galaxy, right? But I mean, as Vegas, I don't blame them. Like we're terrible, we're mentally fragile, all those sort of bad adjectives that you can place on this team. But this game always takes a world of its own. Like I've been saying multiple times, it's just you don't like, things just happen unexpectedly, and score lines just happen out of nowhere. So prediction time, man. Favorite part of the show?
Well, give us 1 sec here. Has the Galaxy won a game yet? It says if there was ever a trap game, this is a trap game for the rivals. Scarf, how do you feel about that statement?
Interesting.
Listen, I said it at the top, right? There is a large contingent of us who have talked about, like, there's no way they're not going to win a game until they play us, right? Okay. Now that there's been the 13 game non-win streak, We're thinking about it, right? Like I said the thing that they don't want me to say out loud. There's a small part of us that are terrified that we're going to be the first win of the season for Galaxy. Look, I don't think it'll happen. I really don't think it'll happen. But that being said, for me, if I'm looking at this match, whatever I think you said it averages 4 point, however many goals per match. Yeah. I'm going under. I think it's going to be 3-1 LAFC. I think we're going to hit the 4-goal mark. I think it'll be 3-1 LAFC, and I think it'll be 2-0 at the half. And we'll see, right? That's when Vanney will have to start pulling some strings. That's when you might get some Vanney out chants from the stands like they had in their last couple of matches. I have to ask you guys a question, too, before you make your prediction, because I'm curious. I want to make sure I get this question in. Do you guys think that Vanney has lost the locker room, or is it just that he doesn't have all of his players, that Pooch and Peck and Paintsel are all hurt and not playing? Like, you say this all the time, right? Two things can be true, right?
Yeah.
Is it both? Like, I'm just curious to know what you guys think.
Yeah.
By the way, I have 3-1.
Rob, go ahead. Okay, let me go. And then, cause you've been in all the pressers, you're the press guy. So I think from my vantage point, again, from what I'm seeing, hearing, and this is just my opinion, I don't think I think the players are still fighting for him. Right. But I think over time, that sort of mental edge, that mentality has deteriorated game after game. And it's getting on the wrong side of bad refereeing decisions. Sometimes it's getting on the wrong side of just sloppy mistakes. It's getting on the wrong side of just deflections and things. We can't put together a 90-minute game. Right. And so I think over time that deteriorates and that gets on the players. Now, I haven't seen it to the point where they've completely given up because, for example, I'm still seeing, players make sprints to track back and get their markers. I'm still seeing players make channel runs. I'm still seeing sort of players celebrating with each other. What I'm not seeing enough of, and this is the point that I made last pod, Scarf, which is, especially in New York, we were in that stadium, unfortunately, to witness that demolition. And what I told Rob after like the third or fourth goal or whatever it was, it looked like the players were giving up more on each other than Greg. And the reason why I said that was because after every goal that they let in, there was no communication. There was no sort of like, hey, no directions, or it was all finger pointing. It was all blaming. It was palms up in the air. It was, stale faces. And I think, especially in that 90 minutes, I felt like the players gave up more on each other. But I don't think Greg's lost the dressing room quite yet. But if the results go the way they do, I think naturally as a human being, I think you do lose faith in that. And I think I've heard this multiple times in sort of the soccer sphere, which is sometimes you need a different voice. And maybe it'll get to that point where you need a different voice. What about you, Rob? What are you seeing and hearing from the locker room?
Yeah, I said it on the last pod. I mean, I have no indication that's true. In fact, quite the opposite. I mean, the players, multiple players have been asked about it. Diego, Christian Ramirez, and it goes beyond what I always complain about, players who give me the party line or, basically the canned PR answer. But these are players that, aren't giving me the canned PR answer. They're actually behind Greg. You can tell they are there. And you can tell that it hurts them. You can tell that they're emotional about these results. They've said a couple of times, we're together. We are looking at each other to hold each other accountable, but no one's pointing fingers and casting blame. We're together right now more than ever. Will Kuhn said, it looks chaotic from the outside, but we're so together. So no, I have no indication that's the truth. But like Ananda said, it doesn't matter how much the players are still behind him, Scarf. At the end of the day, if the results aren't coming, maybe that different voice is needed, because they could be fighting for him all they want, but if it's just not happening, it's just not happening. And
yeah,
just it's if it's got to change, it's got to change, and it might be coming to that point. Depending on what happens in this match, or certainly what happens here at the end of this May period.
Well, Rob, what will happen in this match? So what will happen in this match? Speaking of,
what will happen is that you'll go first and give us your prediction.
no, that's why you're on the screen right now. That's what you put you on the big screen. So there you go. That's a gotcha moment.
I'm calling a 2-1 LAFC win. I really don't think that the Galaxy has shown me enough to get over the line. I said it at the top when Scarf came on. I did watch these previous two matches, the one in Philadelphia for the Galaxy and the one against Seattle, or a large portion of it, and just the football is being played right now is a lot better, and it doesn't have all the problems that the Galaxy has. Giving up goals, not being able to score, just I don't have the confidence that they're going to pull out a match. However, I want to be wrong.
Yeah,
Lord Jesus, help me be wrong. You know how shitty it is to have to write the same headline every single week.
It's like 2023, man. It's like 2023.
Galaxy
all
drop
over
another one. Like,
yeah.
can I just write a new headline for the love of God once this year? I want to write just a new headline.
Yeah, man, I'm not far behind you, and maybe like Scarf's like, whoa, these guys must be really in the dumps because they are not giving their team any credit. But look, I mean, the truth is my heart will say that my heart will say this is a 1-pointer or a 3-pointer for the Galaxy, right? Because these games take a mind of its own. But I'm not far behind of Rob, Scarf, which is and chat, which is that's probably going to be like a 3-2 game. I remember the first game at home in the 2023 season during the boycott. I was there, and it has an eerie feel. There's no boycott, obviously, but it has that eerie feeling from the Galaxy side coming into that game. Like, we had no momentum. We had, that was when we had Tyler Boyd up top, etc. But the way that game went, LAFC pumped us 2 goals right away, and then Tyler Boyd scores that screamer, and we're like, oh, we have a chance. I feel like this game's going to go the same way, where LAFC is going to come out hot. We're going to claw ourselves back in, but it's just going to be too much for us at the end. Of course, in that game, we scored a late sort of 3-2. We tried to tie it up at 3-3, but it just wouldn't happen. I feel like it's going to go the same way. So, yeah, my head pick says 3-2 LAFC, unfortunately. And, that's not fun to say at all.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the reality. And we
Truth
always...
hurts.
Always talk about on the spot, like telling it how it is, and that's just where it is right now. The results speak. You said it. Sasha Kleshin talked. You said that Sasha Kleshin talked about it. The proof is in the results and in the standings.
Table doesn't lie. Yep.
The table doesn't lie, and that's where we are. Well, Scarf has LAFC winning. Unfortunately, for the first time, I believe Ananda and I are also both of us are calling the opponent to win, so it's a clean sweep for the opponent. I think for the first time ever on this pod, but that's just where this Galaxy Soccer has been, and the luck has been. Scarf, I mean, if by some miracle the Galaxy actually do get a win, I don't even think there's room to brag, because it's like awesome. You guys are on 6 points.
Yeah, look, I think I don't see it happening. It's a rivalry match. I don't think I'm overconfident in saying I think LAFC obviously should win this. I would be disappointed even in a draw. I don't care that it's on the road. I don't care that it's a rivalry match. It would be frustrating. But man, it would, again, I didn't think coming into the start of this season that I would be able to say 2 words to any Galaxy supporter because of last year's MLS Cup. If somehow, obviously, you guys go ahead and find a way at home against us on Sunday, then I was right. Then, yep, that's it. I'm not saying anything at all for the rest of the season. That's it. That being said, it's going to get quite loud, I think, from both sides on Twitter after this match if LAFC does come out and play the way that I think we all possibly think they can. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's why I stay off Twitter as much as I can.
Oh yeah, that cesspool known as Twitter. Well, one thing that I can credit Twitter for is it put us into contact once again, so that you can come on this pod and you can go ahead and share your LAFC knowledge with us. JR, we want to thank you for hanging out with us. Before you go, please go ahead and share with the folk where they can find you, where they can find your game coverage, and where they can find the pod.
Yeah, I'm sure all the Galaxy supporters listening really want to check out at Defenders of the Bank. That's bank with a C. 360 episodes and counting since day one.
Congrats,
pretty much,
man.
Of the LAFC season one. So yeah, look, it's a lot of fun. My buddy Philly and I have been doing it since year one, and it's been a labor of love. It's been a project of passion, and look, it's something that if you would have told this middle school teacher 8 years ago that I would have ever been doing a podcast for as long as I have, I would have called you crazy. But I absolutely love it. And look, we are also family friendly on our podcast. I have a lot of my students who listen. So if you ever need something family friendly for your black and gold knowledge, come check us out over at Defenders of the Bank.
Yeah, really
Scarf.
quick too, man. Shout out to you and all the teachers out there. You guys are doing a really good thing.
Sure.
So yeah, shout out to all you guys, man. And then also shout out to Philly. I know Philly's had Rob on and Soccer in 60 on his other show, and just great guys. So man, thank you again for joining us, man, and being up late with us to talk soccer. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Philly. I mean, he showed Tranquilo Davila a lot of love when he passed, and that's the beautiful thing about the soccer community here in Los Angeles, is that sometimes it's bigger than that rivalry, and shout out to him. Scarf, thank you so much, man. We'll see you at the stadium on Sunday.
Yep, I will be there. I'll see you guys. If you're there, hit me up. We can grab a beer at halftime.
Sounds good, mate. We'll see you at the stadium. Thanks, Scarf.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
One of the things that will always stick with me about this rivalry, El Trafico, is Scarf one time told me is, I don't know why we're so bad to each other just because we wear a different piece of laundry. And that's always stuck with me.
I like that one. Yeah.
And so, just wise words from Teach. No matter what happens at the game on Sunday, be good to each other, be respectful, and hopefully everyone goes home happy and whole. We do have a super chat. XPH, has the Galaxy won a game yet? No. Shout out Rob and Ananda. Hats off to Scarf. Which season has been more disappointing this year? Kings, Lakers, Galaxy, and for Ananda, Real Madrid
and Arsenal. Your season's still alive, Papa. Man United in the final. So there you go.
United about to get clapped by Spurs.
That European Farmers League final. But they all count. They all count. I'll get.
Hey, it's a path of the Champions League. That's all I know.
That's super fair. Yeah.
All right. More disappointing. No, definitely the Galaxy has been the most disappointing. I mean, the Lakers. I mean, they had a team to make a run possibly, but it was going to be tough.
Not
the first year.
Team. Yep.
Yeah, and the Kings did the Kings. I mean, that's 4 years running. So what could you really expect at this point? Ananda, Real Madrid.
Yeah, pretty disappointing. Pretty disappointing because you have all those expectations with Mbappe, right? So yeah, and like I said, Arsenal's been disappointing. 3rd year running, 2nd place in the league. So semifinals just couldn't get over the hump. Too many injuries to get over, and yeah, we need to sort our summer transfer business. But anyways,
let's hit some announcements and get on out of here.
Yep.
The Galaxy versus LAFC Special Olympics Unified match is taking place on Friday, May 16th at the Digs. Go ahead and support those G's. Take on LAFC on Friday. The Galaxy Pride pre-match top is now available. That one's going to set you back about 70 quid. But I actually quite like this one, Ananda, this year. It's very, very interesting. I like how they set it up this year. So as long as the Minister of Finance is all right with it, I may pick this one up. Galaxy fans, make sure to get out to the digs and show your support. No matter what happens, no matter what has happened this year, it is still El Trafico. So y'all need to get out there. The Galaxians will be having a tailgate. Stop by. They'll be celebrating their youth pizza party. Lars will be also doing a tailgate at their usual spot, and Comets will be out there as well doing a tailgate. El Primo will be out there dancing a jig and getting festive, and hopefully that will mean that the Galaxy pick up 3 points. Defend the digs indeed. Yeah, and then guys, please check out the rest of the supporter group socials, ACB and Outlaws, for updated tailgate info as this game gets closer. And then, guys, because it is, like Ananda says, we got to end on a positive, right? So, Ananda, I'll go ahead and let you, because you found this one. Go ahead and shout this one out.
Yeah, no, this is from the guys from the Talking Galaxy podcast. By the way, if you guys have not yet, go ahead and tune into their YouTube. Really, really good. It's from the guys from LA Galaxy Buzz, Galaxy Runs LA, which is our homie tab from Lacuna Matata, as well as the infamous LA Galaxy ship post, as you guys know. So it's them three on this. And really, this is just a message for the Galaxy fans. And, I'm really feeling this one, which is I'm just going to read the statement. We're not backing down. May 18th isn't just another game. Our city, our crest, our stadium. We show up when it counts, not just when it's easy. This isn't about a front office. This is about us, the badge, the history. We represent when it matters, because if we don't, they will. And we're not letting them turn our house into their playground. We'll be there. So it's just a really good message, man. And just to follow that up, I'm just encouraging everyone out there that's listening, everyone in chat, etc. If you've got a ticket, please try to make it to the game. I think this team, Rob, I think you can agree with this. This team needs us more than ever. This team needs the fans behind them. They need that support for the 90 minutes, win, lose, or draw, right? They need us. They need us, man. It's like I said, it was heartbreaking just seeing Diego post-match. And I think you can sense that frustration with the team. So please, guys, please try to be out there if you do have a ticket. And if you can't, just, try not to sell too much to the other team. We know there's a lot of Galaxy fans and families who would love to go and experience El Trafico. So I'm sure there's a lot of Facebook groups out there. There's, I know Josh has a ticket exchange sort of channel in his Discord. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to go. So if you can't go ahead and, show some love to your fellow Galaxy faithful. And I'm sure there's tons of families that want to go. And yeah, just wanted to put that message out there, man.
You said they need us more than ever. No, they need y'all more than ever. I need them to win so I can write a different headline. That's what I need to happen. But you're
such a Scrooge today, man. Such a Scrooge. Anyways.
Yeah, well, man. You know what? I think it's deserved at this point. I want to write a damn different headline. Anyway, I was kind of on the same tip today because I saw the Unicorns post. The Unicorn being our good friend of the show, Eli Lesser, one part of the wingman here. He said, "Dear all Galaxy supporters, times were tough. Tonight was tough, but the team needs us this Sunday. It's not just about getting 3 points. It's about pride and showing who we are and how LA is our city, our home. To anyone who's going to attend the match, give it your all, the full 90 plus. Make it known how much El Trafico means to us, and I promise the players will feed off of it. See you all Sunday, Eli." And then he looks like he's the Incredible Hulk. I don't know if he's greased up in this one as well, but I like a greased up Eli. Go ahead and ask him about that one when you see him, Ananda. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it from us, Ananda. I mean, y'all have stuck with us for a long ass pod today, but there was a lot to get through. So next on Lacuna Galaxiana on Monday, May 19th, we'll bring you our El Trafico reaction pod with our special guests, the Nag Boys, who will be here, and we're going to be doing the simulcast with them again. We usually do El Último Sueño for big occasions like this, but this time we decided we would have an emergency session with them on Monday. and break down the aftermath of El Trafico and the aftermath of this season. Really, everything you need to know will be happening on Monday, May 19th, and then a week from today, on Thursday, May 22nd, we'll have a Galaxy versus San Diego FC match preview for that match happening on Saturday, the 24th, in San Diego at 1:30 in the baking sun. But again, the Galaxy needs you, so head on out there to San Diego. Ananda, anything else to say?
No, I just want to echo that's positive thing, man. Just if you guys are in the stadium, enjoy your tailgates, enjoy the time outside. Just
Enjoy
I
the
know
family time.
enjoy the family time. I know the team's not bringing us any joy at this point, but they, like I said, they need us. Go ahead and be loud, be proud for those 90 minutes. Again, no matter how bad the season's going, this game will always be about bragging rights. So yeah, and I echo those last two statements that we just shared with you there. So hopefully we'll see you guys on Sunday, and boy, would it feel great to get the first win against the crosstown rivals. And I'm just going to dream of that until Sunday. So there you go.
Anyway, I'll leave you with this, guys. Again, no matter what happens out there, it is a game. Be safe, be respectful. If you see something happening, go ahead and get some help. Make sure to look out for each other, and hopefully you guys all get home safe and sound on Sunday, and get ready to start the week. And hopefully we start that week celebrating a Galaxy win. And let's get on out of here. One thing left to say: LA strong, vamos campeones, and could have gone longer on that one.